Vroom vroom, y'all come on in the room. Welcome back to my channel, Advisor Down Media. My name is Jay, and today we're going to be talking about the NASCAR clash at Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem. I was actually supposed to be recording this video last night, but if you watched the race, you know it lasted a little bit longer than we probably all thought it would have. So we're going to do this right now. I just really want to start out by saying how much it sucked having. Is my hand in the way? I think it is. Oops. I just want to start out by saying like how much it really sucked to, I guess, have a 3 month period where we have no racing, and then the first race of the season we get hit with weather delays, and not just a small one either. Not just a lightning delay, or not just a small rain delay. I mean, this race was scheduled for Sunday, got pushed back to Monday, got pushed back to Wednesday. And I'm not trying to be insensitive of anybody's situation. I know the weather was pretty bad. I have family members affected by it, so I know it was no joke by any means. And I know NASCAR just did what they had to do. But it sucked that we had to wait midweek to watch the race. Honestly, the amount of people that showed up was great for the night that it was. I mean, I don't know that many people that would be free enough to go to a NASCAR race on Wednesday night, even if it's only, an exhibition style race. Um, but yeah, I think the first half of it went pretty well. Um, this track, of course, is, very small, only about a quarter of a mile around. Um, and so, literally within like 20 laps already, Larson was leading and catching up to Suarez, I think, who was at the back of the pack, and pretty much close to lapping him already within the first 20 laps out of 200. So, if that doesn't tell you how small the track is, it should. Uh, I also thought it was interesting because I know in the commentary it might have been Mike Joy or Clint Boyer, I don't remember who, but somebody pointed out that that was the most amount of laps that Larson's ever led in a clash, which I guess I never really paid attention to Larson in the clash at all. But I thought that was pretty interesting, just because usually don't expect that from him. I mean, he's pretty much led laps on every track every track that we've gone to. So for him to just be leading the most laps that he's led there within like the first few minutes of the race was crazy. Things were going pretty calm, at least from what I can remember, for the most part, till we had a caution on lap 41 for debris on the track. I thought that was so weird because I don't remember a single. I mean, maybe I just wasn't paying attention. I did have a couple of phone calls during the race, but I do not remember a single point where like debris came off of a car or somebody threw something on track. Like, I think the drivers were acting pretty civil for the most part, and then I think it was Blaney, Chastain, and Logano that all had a stack up that turned Bubba around. But yeah, Blaney, Chastain, and Logano that all had a stack up that sent Bubba around, probably around lap 50 or so, something like that. Which I guess it was bound to happen again. Like, Bowman Gray Stadium is not that big, so the cars are going to stack up pretty quickly and pretty easily. Um, Larson pretty much led a good bit of the first half, until finally he got some challenge from Briscoe after that caution. But I mean, he pretty much held on to the lead, and then we finally got a new leader with Byron taking the lead at lap 72 and Briscoe in P2. And I think Larson had dropped down to third at that point, which was kind of weird. That I don't know if he was just like asleep on the restart or if it was a car or what. But I mean, he had been dominating all night and then slipped back to third, and it was kind of over with from there. And then we had another caution at lap 77 with Cindric spinning, which was, I mean, Well, I'll touch on that in a second. And then something else I caught during that caution that I thought was pretty interesting. I don't know if any of you guys watch Eric Estep for his NASCAR race reviews and NASCAR content, but I love watching his channel. Shout out to him. I remember like a few weeks ago he was talking about WeatherTech and how they were missing from Trackhouse's list of sponsors, and they were missing from their diecast. And so we were thinking that, WeatherTech was not going to be sponsoring Trackhouse this year and moving forward. And then lo and behold, we go to caution from Cindric Spin, and I'm pretty sure the camera focused on SVG's car, and right along the front grill, or I guess above the front grill, it said WeatherTech.com. I'm like 99.9% sure it said WeatherTech.com. So unless something came out in the like since that news broke or since that discovery broke that I missed, I thought that was shocking. Because how do you go from WeatherTech being removed from everything to it being plastered on the front of the first race of the season? I thought that was so weird. I mean, honestly, if they are working with Trackhouse again, that's good. I would love to see their name back on the Trackhouse diecast for the season. I think they have pretty good, simple, clean diecast. So, I mean, I don't mind having WeatherTech in the sport as a sponsor. I think it's fitting. I think they have good diecasts, and yeah, hopefully we just continue to see them on track. But I thought that was pretty interesting. Um, And then once the restart took place, Briscoe, I think, got the lead at some point, and then Ty Gibbs took the lead around 96, lap 96 and 97, um, which was crazy that it finally took. I mean, it took almost the entirety of the first half for Toyota to kind of like bust through and really get a lead in the race. And then, of course, we hit lap 100, which caused a mandatory caution. But then Mother Nature did what she does best and ruined the race night because of sleet or ice or snow or whatever they got. They got some sort of precipitation. Not expecting to go into another rain or I guess precipitation delay after the race already being postponed from Sunday to Wednesday. Just really unfortunate. I really hope that that's not I guess, foreshadow as to what's to come for the weather delays and postpones that might happen during the rest of the season. Yeah, at this point, just judging on like how not necessarily the teams but the manufacturers how they did. I mean, obviously Chevy pretty much dominated a good bit. I mean, with Byron leading laps, Larson leading most of the laps. And then Toyota getting in a few laps there at the end. Um, but I thought it was weird that Ford was. I didn't have anything notable from Ford for the first half of the race. Um, Cindric spinning out was probably the most that I remembered from a Ford car or a Ford team in the first half of the race. So I didn't know. I mean, I know they talked about Blaney a good bit, and I think he was performing pretty well. Maybe Logano too. Um, and then Toyota, I know they got some laps led in there by Briscoe and maybe a couple by Gibbs, but it seemed like they were on one end of the field or the other. Like you had Briscoe and Gibbs at the front leading a couple of laps, and then Denny, I think, and Bubba were towards the back of the field. So it's like they were either doing really good or really bad. Now I will note, I think Toyota probably had the least amount of cars in the field, which I mean, granted, they always do. Um, but it was just, it felt like there was no in between. They were either at the very front or the very back. Um, but I think part of that, at least on Bubba's end, came from all the scuffles that he got in throughout the night. Which, to touch base on that, I don't know what was going on between him and Suarez. I thought that was weird. I don't know if they were just racing each other hard or if there was some type of beef there on track. But I definitely caught the back and forth there, which I didn't understand because I thought they were cool. But then again, the racetrack changes things. NASCAR finally brought the cars down pit road around lap 102 to change for wet weather tires because I think at this point it had been like whatever type of precipitation they were getting, it was coming down decently, or it was enough at least to make the track wet enough for wet weather tires. Um, which, I mean, it was necessary because I think as soon as the cars finally got back on track after the delay, I mean, I want to say like that first lap or two back, we automatically had a caution, and that was with wet weather tires. So I know if they would have kept slicks on, like it would have been a lot worse. Um, but right when they were bringing the cars back on track, uh, they had the camera pointed at like Larson and Elliott, I think, because I want to say both of them. Yeah, they had the camera pointed at Larson and Elliott, I think. But I remember Clint Boyer saying there's a couple of champions right there, Larson and Elliott, and then pause, and there's he goes Denny with all his experience, and I don't know, my heart just kind of dropped because I didn't. I mean, obviously, I wasn't making a video at this point on on any of this content, but obviously I've been watching NASCAR for quite some time, um, and my heart just sank for Denny again because I was rooting for him to win the championship last year. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I'm a huge fan of him. Just one, he's talented, and people can deny that all they want to. I'm not a huge Larson fan, but like I'm not gonna deny the talent that he has either. And I feel like people just do it to Denny just to do it. Um, but you can't deny that he's one of the most talented drivers in the field, and for the simple fact that I think he's 44 years old. The fact that he's still able to perform at the level that he is in his sport at the age that he is, on top of everything that he's been dealing with, even before all the tragic stuff. I mean, that in itself is like pretty impressive. Um, but my heart just sank for him because I went back to the championship and how gut wrenching it was to watch him lose it in a matter of a few laps. And then, to know he finally got a little bit of a breakthrough with the trial just to then lose his dad right after the holidays. I mean, that was, or right after Christmas. I mean, yeah, it was it was sad, and my heart goes out to him, to be honest. And I really hope that obviously he's still here this season. I really hope that mentally he ends up in a good place and that he has a good support system around him. Because obviously it's going to be a tough year, but I hope the best for him this year, and I hope at least this year, if not next, if he's still racing, that he can walk away with the championship. So yeah, at this point, we're getting back from the weather delay, and Briscoe's leading. And I kid you not, as soon as they start caution, um, you had like multiple people spinning. I think I saw Priest in the mix, Hamlin in the mix, and like a few other people, which I already knew. I think from that moment on, I already knew how the second half of the race was going to go. Like, I was already annoyed with the weather delay, but then watching people immediately spin on that first lap back after the weather delay, I was like, the rest of this is going to be um, painful. And so we ended up with another caution around 120, lap 122, I think. And I think that also was a Cindric and Blaney spin, and Bubba was mixed up in there too. Um, But through all the cautions, somehow Shane Van Gisbergen made his way to the front, which I was not expecting. I don't think at all. I don't think I expected him to run bad. I figured maybe he would be about mid pack, maybe a little, you know, a little further down than that. But I didn't expect I would, see him leading. And then even through all the cautions, he was still leading. Because he led around, I think he started leading around lap 140, and the cautions were getting annoying. But every time, I mean, it was him and Priest restarting, and he would have a better restart. Priest would have a better restart. He would have a better restart, and so I mean, it was nice to see him run up front in an oval, and maybe hopefully that'll be giving us a glimpse into what his season might look like on the ovals for this year. I mean, I think he had a pretty impressive season last year with 5 wins. Or was it 6 wins? I think it was 5 wins. He had a pretty impressive season last year with 5 wins, but um, I think it would be really cool to see him perform well on the ovals this year. Even if he doesn't get a win, just getting more top fives and top tens on ovals. I think, hopefully he'll be able to establish himself as more of a, I mean, he is a seasoned veteran in terms of his motorsports experience, but just, I think if he can establish some more top fives and top tens on ovals this year, it'll make him a more balanced stock car driver. Um, and then finally, we are getting towards the end of the race. And then, literally at lap 151, Larson starts slowing down out of nowhere with no explanation. We don't see a tire down, nothing. But I don't think anybody was really paying attention to the fact that we had so many cautions at this point from people spinning out or being bumped or whatever the case may be. We had so many cautions that, like, I don't think any of these teams factor that in as far as gas. And then before we know it, Larson runs out of gas. So he's off track to get gas. And then not even 20 laps later, Elliott runs out of gas too. And then not long after that, I think NASCAR brought all the cars down for gas. Um, which honestly, if you ask me, I really think they probably should have just topped everybody off when they pulled them off after the first half of the race. So um, I think they brought them down pit road at lap 101 or 102 or something like that to change tires for wet weather tires. I think they should have topped them off with gas right there, because at the end of the day, even though the first half of the race went by pretty fast, if you already know you're going to have to switch to wet weather tires, I just think they should have anticipated that there was going to be, a lot more cautions and stuff. So I think it would have been smart to top them off with fuel right then. But then again, I don't remember if that was like against the rules or whatever, because I know they had some different rules as far as pit stops for last night. But eventually, we finally made our way to lap 200, and Priest got the better of SVG and took the win. Um, I think it's no secret that if you know me personally, usually I'm not rooting for most of the four drivers, but I will say that, I mean, there are a few that I definitely do root for. Blaney would be one of them. Busher is one of them. And Priest is one as well. And it was pretty cool just to see him get that win. I mean, you could tell how emotional he was. I mean, he didn't. It was pretty obvious how emotional he was in his on-track interview. Um, but like, I love that. I eat it up. Like, it's so cool to see the drivers like not hold back emotion and just like show that in real time as soon as they're getting out of the car. And especially when you know, a little bit about his background and just like what it took for him to get there. knowing that like he may not have even had a job at some point, with Stuart Haas closing down. Like it was just really cool to see his emotion on the track, and um, I thought it was pretty cool. And honestly, I mean, if you paid attention last season, Priest is. I never thought Priest was a bad driver. Didn't think that he was in good enough equipment for us to really understand the extent of what he could do in decent equipment. But I really think, I don't know. I think there's a really good chance this year that he might, you know, get a win before Busher or Keselowski. In my opinion, I don't know, but either way, it was really cool to see him win. I'm hoping he has a good 2026 season. I think that's pretty much all I got for this episode. Um, Definitely was not expecting to be doing this tonight, but you know, things happen. Um, so I will catch you guys in the next one. God bless.